Hello everybody, I am the Dire Duck, and welcome all to the third episode of the Broken Frequency podcast. I'm joined by my co-host once again, by the name of Jackster.
Hello.
One day, Yag, you'll do a good intro. Rather just
Bro,
hello.
you messed up my intro, man.
No, trust. Right. I believe we have quite a wealth of topics for this week's episode, considering what's gone on recently with MD. So why don't you introduce the first topic, Yag?
Why? That first topic happens to be something that's kind of, got the fandom stirred up again. That thing being the MD music video, Fight Till I'm Good Enough.
I keep forgetting the name of it. Like,
I mean, it's pretty memorable.
I just figured the music video. I can never remember it's Fight Till I'm Good Enough. I don't know. But
It's not good enough to fight for then.
all right, Yag. So I think I'll get your opinion out of the way first. What do you think of it?
Genuinely, even though I've had plenty of time to reflect on it, I thoroughly enjoy it more than episode 2 and 5 of Canon MD.
It's quite a bold statement. Can I back it up?
I know, it might be kind of a hot take for the people in the back. Seeing post-episode 8 stuff, seeing, I guess, the spirit of the show carried on, like, it brought me more joy seeing that music video than an entire episode of subpar writing and plot holes and just stuff I did not enjoy.
Well, couldn't you argue the plot holes and issues with the music video, though?
Oh, absolutely. The Sparky Zilla thing, the whole zombie drones, it being Liam's original pitch and everything. But honestly, like, that's like the good type of fun, and as opposed to the more painful type of fun for some people.
The more painful type of fun.
While having to, cohesively look at MD as an entire thing with all those plot holes in mind. Like, Crozy and just Frumpa Bucket, stuff like that,
No, I think they improved the series. What are you talking about?
You're allowed to be wrong, by all means.
But yeah, like, I can't say I'm quite opposed. Like, I still like it, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to be, it just doesn't quite feel entirely MD. I don't know. Like,
I don't know. It felt very MD to me.
But maybe it's the fact, I don't know, maybe it's stuff like the Sparkies, the fact of how bouncy everything was. I still think it was very good, don't get me wrong, right? I'm glad we got it. I don't know, it just feels like it's just missing that special soul, if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I think it exemplified the virtues of MD, so to speak, to a T.
So what would you consider those virtues to actually be then, just for the sake of the audience?
Just it being kind of like horrifyingly goofy. Like, the main thing is Sin being inside her Uzi's tail and just kind of like starting a ruckus for no reason, pretty much.
Right.
Like, that to me screams of MD, because that is like pretty much exactly what Sin does in the actual show.
I guess in a certain way you're right, though what actually doesn't go down is quite a bit different.
Fair enough. Same idea though.
But how do you think this is actually going to affect Murderers in the future then? Like, they've come out swinging with this big music video.
I think it'll just be on the back burner, because obviously, Glitch Art Company, they do company things, they need to make money. And what sells well? Well, MD does. I mean, Kickstarter for the comic has $1.7 million, I believe. Nearly $2 million for a retelling of the show, no less. So clearly, the MD fans are pretty hungry.
Yeah, but do you think Glitch will feed that hunger, though?
Oh, they will over time. I think that they will definitely, leave crumbs behind, leave nice little openings, kind of like one-off things. But I do firmly believe eventually, not necessarily sure if it'll be a season 2, but they will announce probably some longevity once they have more open hands and open arms and everything.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the main debate in the fandom right now is kind of, what does this mean? Does this mean season 2 is actually going to happen now, or it's not going to happen, or we're going to get other things? Like, or is this the last hurrah? Like, that seems to be a big point of contention for a lot of people. Like, I feel like the demand for MD stuff is still very much high based on the amount of, like, spam of season 2 in the comment section of that video, of the music video itself.
Yeah,
So
we know that all too well.
So there's definitely still a demand for it. Though the question is, will Glitch want to keep feeding it?
I think they will in like a couple years' time.
Yeah, but what would they actually do in a couple years' time if not season 2?
A spin-off or something like that. I mean, like we see with like some very popular media nowadays, like spin-offs objectively Like they don't necessarily do as well, of course, because you can't match the original. But they pull like a dying fandom together to unite behind a single banner, so to speak.
Right.
Like off the top of my head, like Better Call Saul, obviously, Breaking Bad, like that did really well. In my own little like I suppose circle, like Steven Universe, is getting Lars of the Stars. That ended in 2020, I believe, and now they're getting rebooted for a whole thing with Lars now in 2025. 5 years later,
did they also get a film? Didn't they not?
They got a film, yeah, after season 5, which was not planned at all originally, but that was a way different circumstance. This is a whole spin-off, and I do firmly believe MD will get one eventually.
Yeah, but
that is all but guaranteed.
Not kind of poop on the parade, right? But Breaking Bad and Steven Universe were much bigger cultural icons than MD is. Like, I think we do forget, like Happy Hotel and everything else. Even arguably Digital Circus, right? Like they don't have as much cultural impact outside of our circles as you might think they do. Like even Digital Circus, right? It's not quite as culturally impactful as Breaking Bad is, or arguably Steven Universe is. Like maybe like in a few years when it's kind of like cemented itself into people's like I guess psyche, like you have a generation of people saying I grew up with Digital Circus or I grew up with Murderones. Kind of how like you have like the Steven Universe fans nowadays. I'm not sure. Like, does MD really have enough oomph and staying power to justify or to maintain even a spin-off of all things like 3 years later after the original show ended? And does it have that cultural staying power?
Maybe not to everyone, but definitely to Glitch fans, definitely to MD fans. And that's honestly who they're trying to appeal to.
Right.
There's enough staying power in MD as a whole to justify a spin-off.
Like we don't really have any precedent for this for this kind of like I don't
exactly think... but I'm confident in the uncertainty, if that makes any sense.
I think it was a direct contradiction, but fair enough.
Like the future can go anywhere, but I'm confident it'll go in that one direction.
So let's just say it does get a spin-off then. What do you think would be a spin-off of?
Most definitely something with JC Jensen. To me, the thing that makes the most sense is something on a different exoplanet, expanding the world. Because in episode 6, obviously, when you have the scene with Tessa and N at the computer, you can see like the planetary system.
Yeah.
There's a lot more exoplanets out there, a lot more disassembly drones, and a lot more solver shenanigans. That in and of itself would be a good place to start a new story.
Yeah, like that's a major gamble for them though. Like a whole new cast, just suggest like you got a full like Stray situation.
Well, can you really go back to Copper 9 after everything?
Yeah, I think they probably could, certainly.
Right, but then what would be like the main plot? There's no villain really. I mean, Sin's gonna refabricate herself, but then just like fighting Sin again.
Well, they establish a new one.
But then what can beat a world-ending virus?
Well, like you could have. I suppose you have the humans. It wouldn't make any sense
considering the most powerful thing feasible has been already defeated.
Well, you have the humans return in force. That you get like the villain doesn't have to keep up.
Okay, so how would humans compete against like a whole virus though? I think Copper 9 is done, and I think that like okay, so like kind of just making this up on the spot, but like Adventure Time, right? They had their whole little thing on their world. What is it, like the world of Un or something? Hold up.
Right.
Hold up. What is it called? Wait, is this Earth? Hold up. Yeah, no, the world of Oo. Right. Yeah, that's what Adventure Time is, right?
Right.
But then they have what is it? What's their spinoff? Fiona and Cake. Yeah, and like that's pretty much like a parody of Finn and Jake. Like as opposed to like I guess like our Ananuzi, like following maybe a rogue worker drone or something. I guess kind of like a parody of itself version of Ananuzi or something on a different exoplanet, like with different narrative beats and themes. I think there's enough fun to be had there to justify a different like MD soft reboot in a way.
But yeah, you could just say it's just a clone of Ananuzi, and would all the fans just say, "We'll give us Ananuzi"?
Well, not necessarily a clone per se, but like what Finn and Jake are to Fiona and Cake, like pretty much. Like they look similar, quote unquote, but they're pretty different, and like they're in different circumstances. It needs that sense of familiarity as to not segregate the audience from the IP if it were to get rebooted.
I mean, I guess that could work, but it seems like a bigger of a major gamble for Glitch to take when there are safer options. Plus, this all does like assume the fact that Liam would want to do that.
Well, I mean, I guess kind of speculating off that, like, if he's willing to give the green light to a comic, which is retelling everything, right? So nothing new,
Right.
and he's willing to green light, a music video from the Living Tombstone with presumably narrative beats or something he greenlit, i.e., the Zombie Drone stuff, which he was originally going to do anyway, and Sparkzilla of all things. I don't think that he would say no to some continuation later down the line if he's willing to say yes to that now.
But the way you're saying it implies that he wouldn't necessarily be writing this continuation.
Well, considering as of the current moment of us recording this, he has not really been part of those things like the graphic novel and like the music video. It does not inspire me to say confidently, oh, he'd definitely sign on. But I think he would. I think Glitch would get his say so for some sort of continuation.
As far as we know from the contract, again, like as far as we know, assuming Glitch telling the truth, the creators have full creative control what happens with their shows. So he would have to sign off on it.
It's their IP.
Yeah, or it just wouldn't happen.
Well, yes, you can get the green light, but then you don't necessarily have to have him writing it, or maybe he doesn't want to write it. Like that is entirely up for debate.
But who could possibly write a continuation of MD? Who would be able to do that?
I don't know. Great question.
Oh, Glitch, if you're watching this, yeah, hire me.
Ah, yes, the dire duck.
Yeah, man. Who could be possibly be better for the job than me? Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Moving on, I think the music video really highlighted, right, the more, I guess you could say, a kind of silly comedic tone. I think you all touched on this a bit yourself already. But would it be better for it to be more comedic overall? If you go back and change it, right? Because there's always a major conflict, right, with MD. I should go back a minute. Between the horror and the comedy. And sometimes they conflict with each other, as I think you already agree.
Well, by default, horror and comedy contrast each other. That is the beauty of it.
Well, sometimes they can work together, but broadly, yeah. Especially how
9
it's
times
done
out of 10, they don't, though.
So, would you have preferred if MD lent more into the horror or the comedy? Like, just went committed to one side?
If you commit to one, you definitely do horror, for sure.
You think? How come?
Even from an objective standpoint, like, MD is targeted for, I believe it's 16-year-olds. It says on Glitch's website, like, under the Our Shows thing.
Does it? Hold on, let me fact check that.
It's either 13 plus or 16.
I thought it was 13. Hold on. Let's check this.
I'm pretty sure it is 16, though. But even if it's 13, that still works.
Let me check this. Our Shows. If we put like it is on there. Let's have a look, see what does it say about murder drones. It is... Does it specify an age demographic?
It used to.
I don't know if it does anymore, actually.
Oh, this definitely got changed a lot.
I know. This is definitely sleeker designed, definitely. 13
or older. Right, let's say it's 13 then. PG-13.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's 13, yeah. Go on.
Even with, like, some of the more darker elements, they're nothing that dark. And to be perfectly honest, at least from what I've seen, a lot of 13-year-olds nowadays are pretty overexposed to dark elements and gore, I suppose, in a vacuum.
Right.
Because a lot of media just has that nowadays. I think MD definitely played it way too safe with its dark shit. Even like the Tessin twist, because like, okay, it's a Halloween costume. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but you got to remember, the R of the YouTube's fun. That's the reason why all the blood is black or blue.
Oh, obviously, yeah. YouTube is the main reason as to why they have to play it safe. The whole, it's not humans dying, it's drones, it's oil, it's not blood.
Like,
right?
Considering they are pretty brutal, considering, if you basically imagine that all the drones are humans, which they basically are supposed to be,
well,
right?
surrogate humans, yeah, that is how you're supposed to view them.
Yeah, they are surrogate humans. They get ripped apart, blown up, torn to shreds. Like, they get a lot of stuff happen to them. Like, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure they do a lot of brutality. Just because it's not actual flesh and gore all the time doesn't mean it's still not a brutal show.
By all means, no, yeah. Like, this is not something I would turn on for like a 5-year-old, but like, I don't know, seeing like heads fly and arms get chopped off, like, it's not enough in my opinion.
So like, what would you want to see more? We'll give an example. What you want to see more of then?
I would definitely say keeping that episode 1 vibe of, the company, the WDF, just having these worker drones actually die and actually matter somewhat. maybe you don't care about them, maybe you don't know them, but they're still like a surrogate human. Like they're still people, right? And I do firmly believe that if the viewer can make that connection of like, oh, hey, I'm supposed to care for these guys, then it just motivates you to get invested more and to really just give a shit. Because as it stands, I'm pretty sure most people, at least from what I've seen, especially like younger fans, they're all about the disassembly drones, the solver. They don't care about the morals and the ambiguity of the colony and everything like as a whole. Would you say that's somewhat true?
Yeah, like that's the popular. I think people care about Uzi. You know, I said
yes, but how many of them would say that they care about Khan?
Well, like Khan's a side character, it's not necessarily a fair comparison.
But he's like the leader of the worker drones, and if you care about Uzi, because she's a worker drone, then shouldn't you care about the other worker drones by vacuum?
Yeah, I do. I have a feeling, right, that if the show decided to focus more on the colony and the like fads and the Khans of the world, more people will care about them. I don't necessarily if no one had any interest in them at any point. It's more they just got so little focus that of course you're gonna have to be more interested in the things that get focus. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because when things are obvious the focus, who would have guessed that's what most people talk about, or most things that are popular, are the main focus.
Does make you wonder though. Like it does make what it could have been if if they actually decided to stick with the more kind of grounded colony centric story.
Well, I mean, originally the show is way different, as we know, which I believe Liam confirmed on Reddit a while back. Like N and V were the main characters. Khan was like the main villain, or like really, dominant. He he had like an eye scar and everything.
Dominant.
Well, yeah, he went from main villain or like secondary villain to forgettable side character, pretty much.
No, I would say a villain. I'd say antagonist. I don't think he was actually confirmed to be a villain.
I don't know, man. I think villain is the right term.
He's definitely supposed to be more of a jaded character than the kind of goofier Khan we ended up getting.
I don't know. I definitely would have liked that.
Yeah, like it would have made more logical sense considering like one, his role in the story, and two, the fact he had his wife murdered. No, he didn't have his wife murdered in front of her.
He killed his wife.
Yeah, he had to kill his wife. Yeah, which would have messed someone up.
I don't know. I think that would definitely mess up with someone's head. Yeah, for sure.
I would go back to the original point of this discussion, which was whether the horror versus comedy. I would have loved to see more of the horror because again, I'm an old guard Liam Vickers fan, so the more SNTWL
emphasis on old, but yeah.
I'm gonna reach through my mortar and strangle you.
Finish your point before you get any older.
But yeah, as an old God Liam fan, I like the more creepy horror with some like lighter elements of levity in there, which is the kind of more subtler writing that you used to have. Well, I don't know, is subtle the right word? Yeah, it's subtle the right word. Obviously, that's not what Murderers is, and to be honest, I feel like if Liam did go down this road, Murderers would not be nearly as popular as it is today, and it wouldn't have garnered everything. We wouldn't have this community or all the support from Glitch or the merch, everything else. If it went down that full like commit to its darker origins. So I feel like for the sake of it being better for Glitch and the show being more successful, I think probably shifting to the comedy like they did was probably the right call. Though I can't say I would have not personally preferred it to be a bit darker. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? It was a bit of a company decision to make it a lot more lighter in tone. Anything to add to that?
I think MD being the way it is what garnered this specific fandom, these specific people to go around it.
Yeah, like
if you change one element, then something gets affected. It's a butterfly effect.
Yeah, again, like it's interesting to figure how different the fandom would have been if it did go like full dark. Like probably a lot smaller fandom, most likely.
Way more close-fisted too.
Moving along to our next topic. I think it's a very much topic of speculation here, so I'm interested to hear what you think about this, Jag. What are your headcanons? That's always something that's discussed very much. In fact, like people mix up headcanon for actual lore, and I've seen people argue like on headcanons being factual lore when they're not, all confirmed. But what are your own personal headcanons, Jag?
My own personal headcanons. Now I gotta think. It's like I do draw that fine line between, oh hey, this is canon, this is implied, and then oh, this is actually what's actually stated.
Yeah.
Headcanon wise though, I'm trying to think. I do think that like the reason Yeva is mute is probably because of like some incident where maybe her vocal cords got like ripped out or something in like the labs. Because I think, obviously, we can all agree on this. I'm pretty sure that every worker drone is programmed and manufactured the same way, same base model, same design, literally. Like, why do you think OCs are really easy to make? It's you literally take like the worker drone base model, but like, I would imagine that Yeva was not always mute, because even if you go off like the grain of salt, like kind of conspiracy theory sort of thing, that Glitch got backlash from the Russian side of the fandom. They didn't want to offend the Russians because of the Russian portrayal of the VA and everything.
How's that actually been confirmed though? That whole Russian drama.
I heard it a while back and it lines up, so I'm running with it.
So isn't that headcanon in and of itself though?
Well, it's an outside headcanon because it's like actual real world stuff in a way. But yes, but either way, that lines up. Anyway, though, back to my point. Like, I'm pretty sure there was way more interesting stuff in the labs that were being led on. But obviously, we didn't really get that. We got the cathedral, the mine shaft, and that's about it.
So what kind of interesting things would you say then? What are those?
Nori, and Yeva, and Alice, like all the solver people in like one vacuum. That in and of itself is interesting. And honestly, that's a good spin-off idea right there, honestly, once again. But some lab incident definitely happened with Yeva, especially because of that one screenshot in episode 6 on the monitor where you have Yeva like holding her eye because it's bleeding oil because the solver. Like, I would like to think that in some capacity, Yeva had some really traumatic incident or something, or some really bad patient zero type thing happen to her. And that is why she either A, can't speak, or B, like just really does not at all. So like, sign language, putting text on like her screen and everything, what have you. She communicates in other ways. That in and of itself makes a very bland, boring, and pretty forgettable character into something more tragic and memorable, in my opinion.
I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that about this. Like, yeah, they must have something bad happen to her, because like we know based off the, I guess this is sort of headcanon, but it's like very strong educated guessing, I suppose. So not quite headcanon, but whatever. Either way, right? We know for a fact from Doll that when the solver progresses to a certain stage, it starts to melt out the eyes of they do the solveriness. So like, It seems like extensive use of the solver does that. So I would imagine that's just like in the same way Yeva is progressing. So the same way Doll progressed that stage of the solver infection, whatever you want to call it. Like her eye started bleeding. That happened to Yeva. Like I imagine there's probably also some like host thing, like why Doll when Yeva's eyes bleeding, why Nori's and Uzi didn't. Like maybe they're a better host for the solver. I guess that's the implication.
Okay, well, going off that, actually, there's another. I guess it's not my headcanon, but it's a headcanon I've definitely seen around. That the solver, like, and controlling it and everything is based off emotion, which kind of lines up because in episode 4, Uzi has like an outburst. She's scared, what have you, because the campers and V and everything. So when she like mentally breaks down, the solver is able to fully control her more easily. I don't know if I personally believe that, because I think it's really just whatever the plot needs. Yeah, but I do think
the outer world explanation is probably that, but the in-law or in-universe explanation is probably maybe something more in line with the emotion argument.
I don't know, because I'm still looking at it from an objective standpoint, because once again, you're supposed to view the drones as human and kind of human anatomy in a way. We know they have organs, we know they have rib cages and an exoskeleton kind of. So when you look at it like that, objectively, every drone is made relatively the same, with some exceptions, like the babies and everything. But as adults, everyone is around the same. So from that standpoint, the solver, in theory, should be able to equally control everyone the same. But if you go off the emotion headcanon, it does make sense because, as we know, Doll is prone to anger, like very, very often actually, and very silent, like resentful type of anger, which gradually did eat away at her. And because she had no support system or anything, she succumbed to the solver. Whereas Uzi, she broke down when she was alone that one time in episode 4. She bounced back because she had N and V, and she became all the more better for it. And she could easily control the solver and become the host at the end of episode 8 when, she merges with Sin. Like, in that regard, this headcanon definitely makes sense. and I do honestly think it is fun, but I think the plot is just too much like, full of holes for it to actually like work in practice.
Yeah, there's a lot of like speculation that has to be done on the viewer's part, which you could argue is a good thing because it gives people more room to theory craft and again makes MD an interesting topic of conversation. Again, like we're literally having this podcast right now discussing it, but it does mean that the audience has to do a lot of heavy lifting for your story. And is that really good writing?
I personally disagree with it being good writing.
Yeah, well, I'm posing the question, but I'm make a defensive statement. But yeah, like, I don't, like, I feel like MD would be far less interesting if they did just confirm it all. Like, the fun is the mystery, but, and again, I think for an indie animated show, it massively benefits from that. I think from a making indie show perspective, they probably benefited from that quite a bit. But it doesn't. Absolutely. It doesn't make it like, it doesn't not make it a bit, silly that, again, there's so much of the core plot is unexplained unless you're really paying attention. And even then, you have to make some educated guesses or, rely on some headcanon to justify why a lot of things in the show happen. Any add to that?
I think this is actually a good place to segue, like the same two topics, kind of,
because
they are indirectly related. I think that there is a very interesting divide between what one MD fan might think and what another might think. Because this show inherently creates a lot of, I guess, dispute between what is good and what is bad between the viewers.
Right.
Now, the closest,
closest
thing like to this that I think really correlates with my point is Tessa. Specifically, Spacesuit Tessa. I, as a viewer, when the show was still premiering, I was rooting for Spacesuit Tessa, because to be honest, sacrificing one drone, Uzi, to save all of presumably humanity, if you go with that narrative, because that's all we knew at the time, that is a good decision in my opinion.
Well, yeah,
now,
it's a very interesting plot. It's a very interesting plot.
It is, yeah. I think Uzi of the Universe was the question I wanted answered the most in episode 6 and 7. Unfortunately, that plotline was dropped in about 5 minutes, but the point is, like, when you create interesting moral ambiguity and you force the viewer to pick a side, like a Telltale game, that creates interesting discussion. Because when the nuance is not just, hey, you're good, hey, you're bad, and there's an in-between, you can do fun heavy lifting and pick sides and have fun debates. Because I know a lot of people, especially back in 2023, when episode 6 first premiered, like, the amount of people divided on Spacesuit Tessa was very interesting. Because I get both sides, right? Oh, Uzi's the good guy. Oh, she's an outcast. Oh, she has N. Oh, I love Uzi. Like, the MD is Uzi's story. As the main character, she should probably have most of your, opinion focused on her. But Spacesuit Tessa, for someone more objective and looking at the bigger picture, aka, I suppose, like me at the time and a few others, and I guess that entire group, Spacesuit Tessa probably appeals to you more because you're looking at humanity, JC Jensen. You're looking at more than just Copper 9. You're looking at the entire MD universe, so to speak. And when you force the viewer to pick a side like that, and to look at the evidence and to decide, hey, is this worth supporting? Hey, actually, I don't think blank is good because, why is Tessa willing to kill that one worker drone? Isn't she supposed to be good? When you create interesting discussion in and of itself by showing so little, you just create a bigger vacuum for people to keep jumping into later.
Yeah.
So kind of going back on that to the writing point, like episode 5, very, very ambiguity.
Ambiguous.
Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity. Yes, okay, there's a lot of that in that episode because nothing is ever outright told to you. Like, everything is either cut away from, has comedy covering it, or it's a weird, it's not actually a flashback, it's revisiting the thing, and it's like, it's yay cozy. Because of the format, because of the way everything was aligned, it created more questions than answers, objectively. I don't think I walked out of that premiere thinking, oh my god, we figured out everything. Oh my god, the TV in the beginning told us that the solver equals, the drone corrupting. You have to dispose of the worker drones like properly and everything. So with like that sort of ambiguity, I think that MD can definitely get in your head for like good and very bad reasons at the same time. because when you have to analyze so many frames, you have to analyze what this might mean, do a bunch of if-then statements. It creates a divide in the viewership because casual viewers will probably not understand what the is happening. I'm pretty sure, like most casual fans I know, they've had to rewatch so much stuff, have to watch so many lore videos to even get a basic understanding of what's happening. Whereas a casual viewer, as opposed to a hardcore viewer, there's a big divide in between like what they understand in like the in-between gaps, like the time skips. Because when someone analyzes everything, they have every frame pinpointed. They know when this one like little piece of text appeared, like in episode 1 of the pilot when it said like Sin on En's visor when he's rebooting. When you have that type of fan compared to a casual fan, it really just creates a big divide between how much you can really care. Because casually, I would imagine most people probably would pick Uzi in the Uzi or the Universe debate. But someone more hardcore, looking at Tessa, her character, her backstory, her abuse at the Elliot Manor, you know, her chains and everything, they're probably more inclined to agree with her in that situation. So it's really about psychology, if anything. But, you know, connecting to MD, I just think creating a story like that is fascinating for really good and really bad reasons. More or less, it could be a fault on the writing, or it could just be a fault with how humans work. But I think MD absorbed the right audience. Because when people are so willing to be like questioning everything and picking sides, it creates such an interesting environment where it feels like no matter where you go, you can either find someone who agrees with you on everything or disagrees with you on everything. And that is fascinating to me.
You can tell you care a lot about this topic, can't you?
Well, I do, because that in and of itself, that is why I like MD a lot.
Yeah, I disagree that like most fans would pick Uzi in the Uzi versus World debate, because I think
I don't know, man.
I think a lot of people can see the picture of like, hey, one drone for like everything. Like, bearing in mind, if they do pick Uzi, what happened? They all die anyway. So what's the point?
No, they would rather than just float in space and make out, probably.
Yeah, but that assumes the solver isn't going to be possessed. Solver isn't going to possess them. Sorry, like
correct, but people can't see the bigger picture. That's the thing. If that is the case, how come most people absolutely loathe Khan? Because he took the colony over Uzi in the pilot.
Yeah, but like the show, right? Even if like realistically he you know what his decision is justifiable, the show and the way the show depicts it, the show clearly wants us to think he is the coward, he is in the wrong. The show frames it that way. So I don't blame people for like, even if they don't necessarily agree with it, like they would take it on that like kind of word, as it were. Like they accept that status for the sake, that's what the plot is saying is happening. So okay, like you can make the quirky argument, oh no, Khan actually did nothing wrong, but as the way the show plot is set out, you're supposed to view Khan as the person who's in the wrong.
Right, supposed to. That doesn't mean I'm going to. Like, just because the plot tells you something doesn't mean you have to go along with it. There are so many times, from what I can recall in the fandom in that era, where obviously everyone's dogpiling Khan, no one can see the bigger picture. But when someone actually raises up a good point of, hey guys, would you rather everyone die, or would you rather only Uzi die? And you frame it out very clearly, objectively, then they can actually get an understanding of the other side.
I think you have too little faith in the fandom. I don't think, I just feel like, I think more people would see the bigger picture than you let on.
I don't know. I'm going off memory and my experience in the fandom. Obviously, things are changed now. People grow up, quite literally. This show has been going on for 4 years. I was a freshman and I graduated in that time, and I grew up with the show quite literally. But at least to me, most people are too newsy tunnel visioned to get the full picture and like, you know, bigger things like that. Just to be very blunt.
Maybe.
That is just, at least from my experience and from what I've seen.
It is like the greatest like kind of plot point that never happened. The whole like Tessa, Uzi, and like choice.
Yeah, that is the show I fell in love with.
Yeah, that is basically what episodes 5, 6, 7 were predicated on. Essentially, that conflict.
That entire plot line, yeah. Because when you reintroduce Tessa into the story, the entire thing becomes about her.
Yeah, it also makes sense, that conflict. Like the pieces have been set up for that conflict to happen, and it be a logical conflict. Then obviously they pull the rug from everybody and do the tested twist.
Yeah, because like Liam said, it had to like bend around the Liam twist that he wanted. He quite literally, episode 8, he got tunnel visioned. He literally had to rewrite everything from that ground up, or at least to some extent, to fully make that happen.
To be fair, though, it just
felt like
the testing twist was decided from like what episode?
2022. Yes.
Yeah, episode 2. Yeah, episode 2. Like we know it definitely went for episode 4, 100%. But I think it's
absolutely.
Episode 2, they had to flip.
This
on
thing was planned, but it was not made clear.
But why?
At least to me, and at least to a good amount of people that I know.
My point, right, is that they had enough time to reorientate the plot to make it so it flows more naturally into the tested twist. I guess the twist was like I guess the whole point was to pull the rug completely from under us, which I guess it succeeded at. In that regard, yes. It definitely did surprise everybody. Again, like the only like the big smoking gun that weirdly no one pointed out at the time, apart from me, like a private Discord server, was the whole like literally like Tessa's body chilling out in episode 4. Which, we all saw, but, like, no one really put the pieces together, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Apart from that, like, and a few other things, it was very much a twist that didn't really, no one really saw coming, for better or worse. And, it just, it definitely complicated the, the narrative, because they didn't really have enough time to pivot to Sin entirely, and what Sin wanted to do. Because we saw Sin episode 2 and 5, but that's not really, that's Sin, but it's not really the Sin we actually end up properly meeting. That makes sense. We have flashback Sin plus Eldridge J Sin. It's not really the Sin. Although I guess Tessin would probably be a better way of saying it. Not really our Tessin. So,
right.
It does really make you wonder though, what actually got rewritten? Because all episode 8 got rewritten, if I remember correctly. So
that is correct, but definitely the ending for sure. I guarantee Sin won or did a lot of damage before she died in episode 8 originally.
You think? Why do you think that?
Why do I think that? Because look at how happy the current ending is. They definitely pivoted last second.
Really? Like again, like Liam has established that if he works on a series for a very long time, he wants it to have a happy ending.
Right, but then maybe it was not as happy as maybe he thought it should have been originally.
Okay, who else would have died then?
Probably the side characters. Probably, definitely. Maybe V. Who knows?
Well, you think initially V stayed dead, do you think?
Oh, for sure. I like that entire thing is so ambiguous that you can write it either way and still make it make sense. Of course, the way that it currently unfolds, it doesn't make as sense as opposed to if she just actually stayed dead.
Yeah, I recall a very old video that I think who was it? It was Vanity Moth, I think Tyra, was it Uncom? Or was it you?
It was them three.
Oh, them three, yeah. Now, I remember them saying, right? I remember thinking to myself at the time, if V stays dead, her arc is incomplete. But if she comes back, it's a cheap death. So like there's a problem either way. So it could theoretically go either way because like logically, right, she'd had to come back to complete her arc. Her arc wasn't done. But if she did come back, then the whole point of the death and sacrifice was made moot.
Right.
So like either either way, something's got to break there. So you could have had it either way. It would still had a problem, but at least it would have made sense in another way, if it makes any sense.
Correct.
Moving along, I think I think you've already partly answered this with your very long speech earlier, but it's a question I think a lot of people struggle to answer sometimes. What actually makes MD so special to people? The
connection, for sure, especially long-term viewers, because that is essentially most of the people I hang out with, or at least I know. A good chunk of them. Now, this is not to discredit anyone who watched recently or after the finale or what have you. They grew up with the show. They watched it during tough times. They made that connection. Because what makes MD special, at least to me, is being there for premieres. Is being there to witness it live. As opposed to watching it in one sitting and not really getting that same energy, Because
I just find it funny the implication, like, obviously you said that wasn't the case, but like if you didn't watch it during its airing, you are a true fan. Like the implication there. I know.
No, by all means, you can't control when you watch something.
Yeah. Well, you can, but like you can't control when you discover something necessarily.
Okay, well, physically, you cannot though, unless you do it now. Like no matter what you say or do, like everyone's alive during that time. At least I think so, unless like you're a 1-year-old watching. But the point is, like, everyone makes a choice to click on that thumbnail to watch that show, get invested, and eventually make the decision to get fully committed to it or drop it. One of the two.
Of course.
During the pandemic, 2021, at least to my knowledge, the only thing that like was indie that I heard of constantly, but I never got into was Hell of a Boss because it just wasn't for me. It just didn't look interesting. MD comes out, sweeps me under the rug, and now I'm fully immersed in Copper 9. It's like a late night in 2021. I'm rewatching the pilot, and I can see, like in real time, these like hooks that grab my attention and then get me thinking. Like, hey guys, on this one frame it says Sin. Like, who is Sin? Hey guys, is Uzi actually gonna go to Earth to kill all the humans and avenge her mother? Hey guys, like, is Jay actually dead? Can disassembly drones regenerate? That type of thing. Like, hey guys, is Uzi gonna become a disassembly drone because she has the saliva in her now? Like, it's interesting, right? Because the more and more people who got along on that hype train, the more MD reached his peak in terms of viewership. The more people who were there for premieres, the more people who bought merch, like the old N and V plushies and everything, Like, I think everything at a certain point peaks, right? But then, obviously, it has to go downward a little bit. As far as I'm aware, episode 5 is still the worst performing episode in the entire show, both likewise and view-wise. I might be wrong on that because I haven't checked the numbers, but like around that like June 2023 point, I don't think MD was pulling as many viewers, like new viewers, as I thought they probably should have, because they were stuck with their current audience, right?
Right.
So what makes it special during that time is watching the fandom become its own thing. Obviously, you have certain people making content on it, wink, wink. They make content, they get theories going, they get themselves in the fold, so to speak. And then very slowly over time, you have, a pretty big one, especially for this fandom. You have fan projects starting to arise. You have Intermission, which is still like the MD fan project, like to this day.
I mean, like, to be fair, it is like the only one that's out, let's be honest. So, yeah.
Well, straight up.
It's not, again, to be clear, it's not market quality, but like it is the only one at the moment, at least to my knowledge.
No, objectively.
That's like
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it was the first one to competently
like,
organize and actually put something out before everyone else. They're ahead of the curve, as it were.
Yeah, it came out June 27, 2024. Like, yeah, no, that was a good time in the fandom, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does make me wonder though. Kind of segueing off slightly, but still related. Like MD definitely came out at the perfect time for it. It's never like arguably Digital Circus a little bit later. Like that time around the pandemic, etc. Like with Hell of a Boss, Digital Circus, Merge Drones, all that kind of stuff. We all start premiering for that whole issue, time of the pandemic. That was like the best time to be in the anime show. So all these to start in the anime show. My only wonder is how well could other indie anime shows like stand as like a lot, if you're not already established like Glitch, how many indie shows have been that successful that have been released since the COVID era? Like not that many of them. Like take the what was it called, like the art of murder, the art of murder,
Monkey Wrench,
well, the Monkey Wrench been out for a while, I'm pretty sure.
No, I know, but like at least to me, they're all the shows that people say, hey, go watch, and you watch them and you don't really feel like that connection, Yeah,
like we haven't really heard anything from it since that came out, but to be fair, like, it doesn't mean
absolutely.
Doesn't mean it's not happening. Let me just have a quick like nosy on their Twitter and whatnot. See if they're actually posting stuff. Because like that show came out. When did that show come out? When did the actual episode release? That released 11 months ago. Yeah, 11 months ago, right? So 2024. Yeah, latest 2024. Like that got 2.9 million views, right? That's pretty good in basically a year. But would it have done better if it had come out earlier? If it came out earlier, it came out during COVID. Would it have done better? I do have to wonder.
Probably not.
You think no? I think COVID helped these shows come out because a lot of people were locked inside.
Well, absolutely they did, but the actual story itself has to matter. Because from what I remember of Art of Murder, it's just like, okay, all these different things are coming together, yada yada. I don't think the ending was that interesting. Like the person just wakes up at the end, right? I don't think it has that same hook MD does. Now, if MD came out today, I do think obviously it would do well, but definitely not nearly as well.
I don't think it will do as well as MD. 'Cause I think MD has like a good mix of like special like spices that you need for a successful indie show. Like there definitely seems to be a formula. There absolutely seems to be a formula.
Oh, absolutely.
I think when people realize that there's a formula, I think when it starts to see a what's the word? What you kind of seeing like like Family Guy clones or Simpsons clones, like that kind of style of show where it's basically it's an obvious like riff of the
mimics.
Mimics. Yeah, I think we'll start to see a little more of those when people realize that there's definitely a formula, because that the shows that have done really well and the shows that haven't all have things in common. Obviously, it doesn't guarantee success. Don't get me wrong, like the quality, animation, etc. But like the way you write your story, the kind of characters you design and create, and how the story is written definitely has an effect on the popularity of the show. But that is of course assuming that if you only thing you care about it being quote unquote successful, as that obviously that means different things to different people. But I definitely think it'll come a point where people will realize that like if the people looking for numbers will realize, oh, we need to do these things, and we'll just make a show by the numbers, as it were, like you see in like you already see in Hollywood and everywhere else. Like people will realize that eventually. I think that'll be a very interesting conversation that the indie community will have when we get there. Like, are these shows creatively invalid because they're clearly taking massive inspiration? Because, like, I bet that the next generation of indie shows will take massive inspiration from Murdrone, Digital Circus, Hello Boss.
Oh, absolutely.
All
That's
these
given.
shows, yeah. And their DNA will start to be seen more blatantly in these shows, most in all due likelihood, at least. I could be completely wrong, but I just if it's anything like, indie animation is already sort of turning into its own version of Hollywood, where you have like quote unquote indies, like Michael Kovac, like like the A-list voice actor of indie animation. You know what I mean? Or like you put like the Dwayne the Rock Johnson, like one of those kind of actors where you just put him in everything. If you want, just because he's a safe actor, you can put in stuff. Again, not to discredit the talent of Michael Kovac or anything like that, but like. He's become known
there's
as
a certain formula that these things follow.
He's become known as the indie voice actor. I can't help but feel like some of the shows he appears in, they sought him out because it was Michael Kovac for the name. You know what I mean? I can't help but feel that.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, like I've also noticed like some artistic cliques are starting to form. Like the people who are in the know and who aren't. Like it hasn't got to like Hollywood like complete nepotism bull crap yet, but I definitely think we'll get there, because like we're not immune to these kind of things. Like you see these kind of cliques and like club things, how these like exclusive eness, like or snootiness form in loads of things. Like Twitch, for example, you see that form in Twitch streamers like massively. If you're not in the club, quote unquote, you're nothing, stuff like that. And I have a feeling, right? I haven't got there yet, but I have a feeling we might eventually get there. Like if you're not a Glitch show or you're not a Vivisity Pop show, you're worth nothing. And I feel like that form of elitism is going to start developing. Whether it develops in the creators or the fans is going to be interesting, but I definitely think people are going to start having that perception. And I think that's going to cause a lot of like debate in the animation sphere. Because again, we got to remember, like this is all basically pioneering. Like kind of
this is trying to be its own thing.
Yeah, there's no we could make comparisons to Hollywood and like Twitch streaming, like other things, but it is all a bit different. And again, there's no precedent. Like Murder Drones is technically the precedent right now because it's the biggest indie show that's finished, to my knowledge. Like everything else is still running. So
I believe you're correct on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the show that's actually wrapped up. It's like So I guess it's the establishment to what you're supposed to do with an indie show after it's re-released. No, I know Metrorun and Sunset Paradise that came in finished, but they didn't really.
Well, let's talk. We're talking big term though. Actually, pulled numbers.
I mean, but for the time they were big for Glitch, like, definitely. Like I remember, like back when Merge was airing, it was getting
hell of it though.
Yeah, but back when Merge was airing, it was getting like 6 million to 10 million views. It was getting, or even less than that, arguably. Like, you gotta remember, it wasn't always at 20 million.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I'm fully aware.
Oh.
Wait, how much did you say for Sunset and Meta?
Yeah, they all got like 1 million, right? And then, like, Merge was obviously a big step up for them, but they only got, like, I think the pilot, right, before Digital Circus came out, was at, like, 8, 9, 10 million. While the other shows were all hovering around, like, the 2 to 6 million, if I remember correctly. And again, there was a time when Merge was a lot smaller comparatively. But obviously, the Digital Circus wave, boosted it up massively.
Very true.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about, yeah? I remember you said you had something else.
Yes. Right. There.
Yes.
I do believe you said this actually on a different podcast we run with a with a certain Professor Sir. Yeah, English. Yeah, you said, and I've known this, but I'm not sure a lot of your viewers do, or a lot of people listening right now. You do not like episode 3.
Yes. Well, no. Actually, I would say I dislike episode 3. I just think it's the worst one.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I would say, like
Now,
I don't hate episode 3 like you hate episode 5. I think it's a good episode. I just think it's the weakest one personally.
Right. So why is it weak?
I think that episode 3 set up a lot of the problems that we would find later on. So like it kind of broke the story in a way, or like it set up all the narratives that kind of fell apart. Like the whole like meandering kind of all like meandering issues that like you kind of saw in like episode 3, 4, 5, arguably a bit of 6. I would blame on like what episode 3 established. Because episode
okay.
I think the pilot, because the way to kind of break it down, the pilot was really good, right, for establishing the world and kind of like getting people invested. It did a very good job as a pilot. Episode 2, right, despite you not but you get not many people liking it, it set up.
It's not just me, Dyer.
It set up all the critical plot pieces, established the fundamentals of the lore, and kind of hammered it all out into more what we'd be expecting going forward. And it's also the only one that actually indulged in the creepy horrorness that you said you would prefer, right? Episode 8 obviously has its problem, but they're clearly a victim of some sort of circumstances that we probably will never know. Episode 7, I think, is just good. 6, I think, again, has issues, but in the moment, again, it's pretty good. Episode 5, again, like, I think episode 5 is a very weak writing in places, but we do get to still see a lot of very interesting things. We get to see a lot of characters acting in ways they wouldn't normally act. Like mostly J and N. And of course, we also get to see just Sin and Tessa acting around, which some we don't really get to see there. And they're both fundamentally very interesting characters. We wouldn't care about the Tessin twist or Tessa or the whole conflict between Uzi and the world if it wasn't for episode 5 and the depiction of Tessa there. People wouldn't have such an interest in Jay if it wasn't for episode 5. So like, it does a lot bad, but it also has some big things going in its favor. While like 3, in my mind, I just think it's a bit dumb. Like, I really don't like the prom aesthetic. I really don't like it. Like, I think it just like ruins the tone of the show. Like every other show, like even with the silly moments, like the horror, like slasher camp, the creepy manor, the spooky lab, like the dark church and the underground mines, end of the world. These are all like interesting settings that you can do horror stuff with, even though they have their like dumb lighter moments and it sort of breaks the plot in their own ways. Like, episode 5, I'm sure you can list like 1,000 examples, but yeah, they all feel very Murder Dronesy. While the prom episode just feels like just a massively silly moment, and I don't know, it just doesn't really, it really doesn't do it for me. I also think that, again, like retroactively, it has aged very poorly. For the simple fact that everything it establishes, sets up in the plot, is like, it goes nowhere. Like, Doll basically goes nowhere. Like, Tessa, we all have with Tessa, and the whole conflict kind of falls apart. So the point they're set up there is not really, valid. Like, V's, like, redemption arc doesn't really make sense. Like V's beginning, considering what happened to her, doesn't really make sense why she does it. And again, it's just all, I feel like it kind of wastes a lot of its time to be like, do the silly prom stuff for fun. Yeah, I think it's definitely a much more personal thing rather than objectively this is the worst episode. But I feel like you could blame a lot of the future problems in the episodes of MD. They all originate from episode 3. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I appreciate I rambled a bit there.
Interesting counterpoint, right? You said it caused the most problems, therefore it's the worst, right?
It causes the most problems?
That is what you said, no? It had a lot of problems that it caused indirectly. It killed the tone. It had a weird prom aesthetic.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, right. So why is 4 not your least favorite then? Because 4 did way worse than 3.
I think the whole camp aesthetic and still Solver Uzi is still fundamentally really cool, so it has that going in its favor.
Okay, so it's rule of cool for you then.
It's not a rule of cool, it's just case in the balance of like, there are a lot of things I dislike and a lot of things I like, right? Like episode 4 has a lot of things I dislike, but also has a lot of things I like. Well, episode 3 has a lot of things I dislike, but not a lot of things I like. If that makes any sense.
So it's by proxy, it's more cons than pros.
Yeah. That makes, yeah.
Okay.
Because I can see the good in episode 4 and 5 pretty easily. Apart from the night dance being cool, even it's a bit silly in my mind. They had them dancing around like they do. and like Doll just getting completely clowned on when realistically she shouldn't. Again, V's like weird redemption arc that starts here, but like yeah, it doesn't make sense of why she would go for this redemption arc. Like why? Like she her plan was to murder everybody, and then was just chill suddenly. Okay, you need a little bit more. A little more going on there. She shouldn't be so. She should be watched heavily. She shouldn't be just like let to wander around freely after stuff like that. Because bear in mind, they already didn't trust her. She was tied up at the beginning of episode 3, wasn't she?
Well, she was tied up.
Yeah. She breaks free, kills quote unquote N, runs off with a plan to murder everybody in the colony for what reason? For oil? Like,
it's implied, but we know that plotline gets dropped anyway.
Yeah. So why does she do it? Like for the fun of it? Like we know,
I suppose, yeah.
We know V has a lot bit more of a heart than what's shown. So it's operating like she's like Pilot V when she's no longer Pilot V. If that makes sense. Again, it's caught in the middle ground of the transfer. But like it feels like the whole tone shifted from the pilot at episode 2 to the rest of the show, and it kind of shifts again at the end as well. And that shift, I don't think it was a good shift. And I don't think it's a coincidence that shift in tone and like how story happened, and then the 2 episodes afterwards had really dodgy stories and really dodgy writing.
4 and 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know though, because when I'm thinking of MD and its objective flaws, right? Objective, big word here. I pinpoint most of it on 4, and I do pinpoint a lot of it on 3 as well, because objectively, 3 once again does have a lot of seeds that sprout into not so good things, right? I agree that much. But 4 had a way bigger issue of it altered the entire show for a little bit, whereas I don't think 3 did that, because it introduced things that were dropped as opposed to altering it as a whole. Because 4 had the issue of making death a joke. All these worker drones die, like V shoots one in the beginning. It's a joke. No one cares. That in and of itself is fundamentally rewriting the story, at least from a certain narrative. Because if you only watched episodes 1 through 4, then, you end at 4, so to speak, you would think that every death ever is comedic, and it's not supposed to be taken seriously. Because that is how the show is telling you to react. As opposed to 3, where, Doll, she gets dropped. That's not, like, altering the entire show. That is only a momentary distraction, so to speak. Like, do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
think for that reason alone... Sorry, go on.
I mean, how seriously did they really take death in episode 3? Like, some death they took seriously, but others they didn't. Okay,
which one did they not take seriously? The only one I can think of is the one at the end with Reed. The glass drone, right?
No, yeah. Well, it's the first instance of it happening there, isn't it? Like, I'll concede to you that some of the other deaths they will play more straight, but even so, like, again, like, you can see the creeping influence of the changing direction. I don't think it's a good change in direction. I think that's a quote.
I agree.
Go on.
Go on. No, you finish.
I think it's quote unquote objective that this shift began to happen in episode 3, and it wasn't for the better.
Yes, I agree that 3 planted these seeds, and they definitely sprouted in 4 and 5. But I think the fruit of the labor is worse than the fucking gardener, so to speak.
I know, but the gardener planted those seeds and raised the fruit to be bad. If you want to go about this analogy.
Do you pinpoint the culprit or the one actually doing it?
But the culprit is the one that's doing it.
Essentially, what this is.
The culprit is the one that's doing it.
No, they're cool words, Darren. Let me use them.
They mean the same thing functionally. The culprit is the person who is doing the thing. Are you sure that mean another word?
No.
That doesn't make any sense then.
Okay, do you pinpoint 3 or 4? That's easier.
For what?
The show declining a little bit.
I pinpoint 3, in my mind at least.
Okay, fair enough.
I think the show, took an easy big win for themselves that damaged the rest of the show because of it. Like they went for that like crowd pleasing move with episode 3. But it damaged the rest of the series going on for that because of the consequences of what they did in episode 3. Again, I don't hate the episode. I don't think it's a bad episode. Again, I just.
No, by all means, I'm not trying to put that in your mouth, right?
Yeah, but
I'm just saying though, Darren. How does it feel knowing that you hate like what's universally considered to be like the best episode?
But I didn't say I hated it though.
Well, let's use that word because it makes it more dramatic.
All right, okay. We could put it on. We could put it on the thumbnail. Oh, that's the title. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dyer hates episode
Cancel
3?
Dyer,
Question mark? Yeah. Oh, cause
I am curious though,
Yeah.
because at least from what I've seen, I hate 5. 5's probably like the most hated, right up there with 2. So.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I have a feeling that part of the reason why the fans say they hate 5 and it's the worst one is your influence. I think you've influenced fans' opinion.
There's no way I have that much influence there.
I think you underestimate how much influence you have. Let's be real, man. I think
I don't think I kickstarted the episode 5 hate train, man.
Oh, I don't think you did, but I think the reason why it's like it's almost a meme at this point is because of you. Like it's not because like a meme topic.
Okay, in that regard, I'll take full credit.
you're certainly proud of yourself for that. So.
I mean, I like memes, especially funny ones, which episode 5 is not, by the way.
All right.
I'm just saying though, man. Like they came to that conclusion one way or the other. I don't think I really played much of a role.
I do remember other reviews at the time saying it was a weak episode. I just remember that. The main one that comes to mind.
Okay, because it's objectively weak. They wouldn't think that without good cause.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people's the fandom's opinions are influenced by the content creators more than
Okay,
content creators want to
that
admit.
is how influence works, Dyer.
Yeah.
It is gained because people say it.
No, to be fair, I would also say, yeah, I noticed a resurgence of people saying actually episode 5 isn't actually that bad. I've noticed.
Oh no, I'm fully aware. It's a very mixed episode, at least for sure. A lot of people will say, "Hey guys, you just have to understand it's not an actual flashback. Hey guys, Crozie's cool because birds are emo, just like Uzi. Hey guys, the jokes are actually funny. It's subjective. Hey guys, Frumble Bucket's a peak character. Like all that shit, right? But once you take all of that away, what does episode 5 contribute to the story? Because all it does is give you more sin.
As I said,
right?
As I just said, it fundamentally sets up the Tessa Uzi Fate the World conflict because you wouldn't give a shit.
Tessa and Uzi barely interact. Tessa
but you're humanizing the Tessa. You care about Tessa and you care about like if Tessa did get episode 5, you wouldn't notice. She'd just be a random human that showed. You wouldn't care. Like it humanizing Tessa.
No,
and it
you're
makes
fully
you
right. That's what episode 5 did right.
Well, yeah. Well, you're asking for what's set for the law, and that episode 5 is critical for that conflict. Like, even if we get the rug pulled from under us, it's critical for that conflict to happen to begin with, because it demonstrates that Tessa and Ed had a strong relationship. Tessa is generally a good person, right? It'll be a bit naive, right? So you wouldn't. She's not actually a cackling villain that you'd question the motives of. She's a victim, and she has. It sets up her motivations, or her alleged motivations to why she would be here wanting revenge. Like, it builds up her character and makes the whole sin showing up in her skin, make sense. Within the bounds of us not knowing it was sin, of course.
Right.
It's a whole conflict can't happen without episode 5. You could say you could say they could have done it better, but it's still redeeming quality of episode 5.
Well, I'm not saying it's all bad, because obviously nothing can be truly fully bad, I believe. There's always good and bad and yin and yang. But the amount of wasted potential and the amount of slop in that episode does overpower the net positives of it, which does, make it hard to see it.
What would you say the slop is? I can think of two things.
The comedy.
Okay. The self-joking is amazing. Best joke in the whole show.
Okay, dude, that is the best joke in the show, but I'm ignoring that one in place of all the other ones.
Okay, name the other jokes that are awful. List them all.
The egg joke from Bucket. Hey guys, I'm over it in the fucking basement, right?
Right, free, allegedly.
Yes. Go get it, goobers. The fucking crow in the tree. From memory. The cliffhanger at the end, absolutely.
Are those the jokes, though?
Definitely the work drone who got forked. Is the cliffhanger not a fucking giant fucking blue ball?
Wait. Well, yeah, it's a cliffhanger to tease next episode, like every single other episode has had.
That is a comedic cliffhanger. Comedic is fucking meant to be a joke, bro.
Yeah, but why is it bad though? Why are half these jokes bad? Like, why?
Okay, you want me to explain?
Yeah. Why is the fork one so awful? Why is it so evil and terrible?
Because the death is a joke thing, bro. Okay, when I'm watching that and I'm supposed to be taking the show seriously, what goes through my mind instead of, "Hey guys, look at the dead drone," is how the f did a fork penetrate his screen?
Yeah, but
I'm looking logically because I'm trying to take it seriously.
yeah, but like you can suspend disbelief enough without having magical robots with
I can
fleshy
suspend
organs.
a lot of disbelief, Dyer, but not for that.
What? So it's the entire rest of the plot of the show you can suspend disbelief for, but a fork like killing a robot, you can't happen.
Yes, bro.
Because like the point of that scene essentially is to show how callous the humans are.
Humans bad.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can do that without making them fork or their drones. All they're missing is just a twirlable mustache and a monocle.
Well,
At
yeah,
that
like
point.
yeah, they're one-dimensional villain characters. Like you can have characters that are one-dimensionally, one-dimensional bad guys. You know, you're allowed.
That is what Sin is. She's a one-dimensional villain.
Well, you could argue Sin has valid motives. Again, the human abuse. Like she got abandoned, human abuse, blah blah blah. Robots rise up.
Well, womp womp, bro. Who cares?
I know, but like you could argue that Sin had more facets than being one-dimensional.
Yes, but to everyone, 9 times out of 10 who aren't diehard Sin Sims, they get to see a one-dimensional villain.
You know what one-dimensional villain means, right?
Yes, lacking any nuance. It is just there to be evil. That is what Sin is, correct?
In a certain sense of the word, I guess.
Anyways, Dyer, going back to the thing though, right?
The thing, yeah.
Tell me the jokes I said again, in order.
Oh, in order.
And I will tell you them.
Okay. The egg.
Right. So they're at the basement. They are trying to get the key to the basement.
Yeah.
The tension is rising.
Yeah. We can't. We don't have to explain the joke necessarily.
I'm explaining because I doubt anyone fucking watches episode 5 on the norm. I refuse to believe anyone like that actually exists, right? But they are trying to get the key. They need the key. V is fucking smirking at them. The tension is rising. Like, the solver's taking over V. And in this moment, Uzi shit out an egg. Wow. Genius storytelling, right? Devi doesn't kill the tension,
I'll be honest. You describe it makes it really funny, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure it does. I'm smirking right now, but not in practice.
All right,
the
then.
next joke I said?
Get it, goobers with the stick. Playing fetch with the crows.
And is tied up to a tree, screaming for mercy. The crows are pecking at him. It's a feast for crows, right? He's getting fucking clawed on. He's getting destroyed by the birds. The birds are taking all their anger out on him. The tension is rising. You're thinking N might be in danger. He picks up a stick. Oh, go get it, goobers! Fucking chucks it.
So wait. Let me get this straight.
Tension is gone.
You can suspend your you can suspend your disbelief for crows wanting to attack a piece of metal, but you can't suspend the disbelief for that piece of metal being penetrated by a fork.
Well, he doesn't die to the crows, does he?
Well, like as shown, the crows have torn apart other worker drones. That's the strong implication.
Yes, but it's not shown on screen.
We've seen literally picking apart a robot. Their worker drones. We see him picking apart.
No, we don't see a worker drone die on screen to a crow. That was just there.
But we see the aftermath of their handiwork. They were obviously murdered by the crow. They're chained out there, and the implication is going to get torn apart by the crows.
There, I'm not here to discuss the logistics of crows fucking killing drones, bro. I'm here to tell you why it's a shit joke. They remove tension, they remove all the narrative beats that were there, and they make it a shitty fucking comedy stand-up, bro.
I just think you have
Episode 5 is not a horror comedy. It's a fucking horrifying comedy because of how unfunny it is.
I think you just have a thing against crows, honestly. We've all learned today. But we'll move on.
Do. They're shit animals.
Okay, right. Oh, no, we're off topic there. Why are crows shit animals? They're birds, but God, why are they shit animals?
Because Uzi possessed them.
Is that the only? So you hate all crows now because that one? What?
I hate that species because of MD. This is correct.
Bruh, you know how smart crows are, man? So all the crows
They're
watching,
not smart enough not to get fucking possessed, apparently.
Oh yeah, they can't possess in a fictional show. God forbid.
Yes, they are inferior. They are losing to Uzi.
They're inferior to a robot with a godlike powers. Well, I would hope they would be, or we'd be screwed to the crows with that kind of power.
Whoa, who's to say a fucking crow's beak can't penetrate a screen, but a fucking fork can?
Well, yeah. Well, the crows.
When is though?
Go on.
What's the next joke, Dan? What's the next joke?
There's one before. There's one beforehand. I'm gonna say like the one where he's like, "Oh, okay, it's gone." But
The basement one, yeah.
I don't need to explain that one. That's the universal example.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because that's the universal example everyone cites, so you don't need to be repeated.
Why does everyone cite it though? Why?
Because it's like it's the most talked about example of the show breaking tension.
Okay, so you can see why all the jokes in 5 are bad, except for the JK one, right?
Well, the JK stuff breaks the tension as well, right?
There's no tension. He's reading a book. Dyer, there is no tension in that scene. He's reading a book.
Well, yeah, reading is scary, as you always tell me.
It may be, but definitely not in Murder Drones.
It may be. What was the other joke now? Some people
The cliffhanger?
No, but no, there's one before that. I think you just said Crozy. Did you say Crozy in general? No, you said something else.
No, I did not say Crozy in general, but she is like the walking example of it being bad.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't like, actually, no, yeah, surrogate hater episode 5 for the audience. You tell us why Crozy is evil or bad. Sorry.
Well, just going off my top of my head, makes no sense for her to be there. Weird ass animal shit that does not need to be there as well. Just if you're gonna insert her in the story, have it just be Uzi at that point. Who's to say she can't like meta runner tar herself into the like flashback? That would actually be kind of cool. Maybe Uzi sneaks around like a butler outfit or something, trying to like immerse herself inside the Elliot Manor. That'd be cool, right?
We get made Uzi. The fans would rejoice. The merch they would sell.
That would legit be good, right? It takes away all the tension because in every scene you have a crow with a little solver eye in it. You can't take that seriously, no matter how hard you try. It's why they kill her halfway in the episode, so for the so she can hack the solver, right?
Right.
And it is only there to make merch, as far as I'm aware, because the cozy plush actually sells somewhat well.
Does it? How do you know the merch figures? Like,
I'm pretty sure it's sold out almost every other time I check.
No way.
Yes way.
I have a hard time believing that.
I don't know, man. Furries, animal lovers out there, they probably like crazy.
Well, furries like fur. Like I think it's what is it, avians or something like the birds.
I don't know, dude.
I'm pretty sure there's a distinction. I'm 90% sure there's a distinction. I'm sure someone in the comments will say. I'm sure someone will correct us. I'm surprised, right? I guess they did. Like, I'm surprised they didn't make more characters into animal because those ones seem to sell like hotcakes. Like, yeah,
they sold the main trio as animals.
Yeah, but why they do other characters?
Because they probably wouldn't sell well because they're not known characters.
Are you telling me a Jay
mouse?
No, that's not an animal for Jay. Come on, think a better animal for Jay.
I'm not here for animal symbolism, bro.
Are you telling me an animal version of Jay wouldn't sell well, or an animal version of Sin?
Okay, Sin, I'm surprised they haven't done, honestly.
Well,
but,
let's count the Halloween costume, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the
we're off topic again. I know it's a meme at this point, but I'm shocked they haven't given Doll a plushie. Like, it just goes to show how much no one gives a crap about Doll. Like a glitch, really, doesn't it?
I think the more they keep doing merge traps, the more they don't do it. It's just the voices are gonna keep getting louder and louder,
Yeah, like, I'm amazed. Like they did a Khan one, so like, but
by all means, Khan deserves the W.
But I'd say Doll is technically a more significant character than Khan.
She objectively is. She's the secondary villain behind Jay. Khan is just there.
Well, even behind Sin as well, so she's the tertiary villain.
What? It goes Sin, Jay, and Doll.
Yeah, so tertiary.
Simple. Well, no, they share the secondary thing.
Oh,
they have the same amount of screen time.
Oh, well, I think Doll has more. Who has more, actually? Jay or Doll?
I think Doll.
Let's see. Jay gets a good chunk of episode 1. Do you count Solver Jay? You can't Solver these matches.
No, that's not her VA, so no, off that metric.
She gets a little bit in 7, a tiny bit in 8. Yeah, I guess Doll. Yeah, Doll does get more.
It has to be Doll.
Yeah. And yet, they don't care about poor old Doll.
I mean, yeah, quite unfortunate.
I do gotta wonder if there's a reason why I don't like Doll. Well, no, I don't do much on Doll. Because, like, she's definitely a popular character with a dedicated fan base, like Jay has,
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we got way off topic, haven't we? We've got to now discuss why Doll's got a plushie.
I mean, it is like a pretty hot topic in the fandom.
Oh my god, hot topic reference to MD merch.
Shut the fuck up, Dyer.
Right. I think we'll do one more topic and then we'll wrap it up. One more listable topic, right?
All right, just one more, no less, yeah?
Yeah. One more topic, no more, no less. I think this has been going on for a while now. This is a long episode, actually.
I mean, more yap.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
a lot of yapping to be yapped. Let's go look at consult my list. I've seen a lot, like, an increasing core, right, in the fandom. Yeah. Also, I feel like this topic probably needs to be discussed a bit more than quickly, but yeah, screw it, we'll go for it. I noticed a lot of people are getting more and more antsy about how others are criticizing the show, how they're treating the show. Like the immediate thing that comes to mind is the season 2 spammers in the comments. Yeah, that immediately comes to mind. But also other things like it's definitely died down, but like the mud slap fight that people have over like petty things. If that makes any sense. Especially,
yes.
I've also noticed that it's starting to bleed over into fan content as well. So, what do you think about that? Yeah, I think you know probably more about this than I do, even.
I think people are just too prone to either pick sides or turn everything into good versus bad, right?
Right.
There's no line for something to be in the middle anymore. I think someone made a video on this that I saw recently. It's called like why no one has opinions anymore, right? And it talks about how like fandoms, especially big fandoms with a lot of people in them, like MD, like Has-Been, like Digital Circus, the people in there, right? Like the content creators, the loud fans, right? Once they have their opinion set in stone, if you have anything that opposes that opinion, you are seen as dead weight pretty much. The whole thing of it can be summed up as just, oh, you like pancakes, so you hate waffles. It's pretty much everyone picking sides. Everyone's trying to start beef and just no one trying to work together as a team pretty much. Because as far as I'm aware, Murder Drones has a really bad problem with criticism. People either give way too much and they really dumb it down to just everything having a flaw, everything being bad, everything being shit, right? Or they're way too like, defending of it, and they're willing to, glaze over everything. When you have those two very contrasting personalities and those two contrasting sides, you just get a shit experience overall. When people can say, hey guys, this is bad, but this is good, there's room for discussion. There's room for genuine criticism that can not only benefit the original showrunners and makers of that product, but can also benefit how people view media. When I say episode 5 is ass, right? I don't want people to just dogpile episode 5 and say, hey guys, because Yagster said episode 5 is the worst episode, we should never look at the positives. We should always hate on it. We should always dogpile people who say it's actually not that bad. That is not what I want, and that is not what anyone else should want.
There is absolutely people who are like that. Like, Yag said it's bad, therefore it's bad. Anyone says it's good, it is bad. Like, that is, there are 100% people like that. Because, popular creator has opinion, therefore that opinion must be true, and anyone who doesn't have that opinion is wrong. That is definitely the case. I'd also agree that there's definitely some people who are very entrenched. Like, either the show is like the worst thing to ever happen, or it's the best thing that ever happened, and there's no middle ground. And neither side is particularly civil about it. I think that's a partial manifestation of just online fandom in general. Like, you look at Hell of a Boss, you look at all any other fandom, right? And you get this, like, dribble. Like, you get a lot of it. Like, the bigger the fandom gets, the more of this you get, for the most part. I also think, like, Glitch has a relatively young audience, which I don't think helps. I also say that Hell of a Boss and Happened to Hotel have a younger audience than they probably should have, which is average. Or at least the mental age of the people that watch it are younger than they probably should be. I think same with probably Murderers as well. I guess it does show like the passion that people have for MD, because like when someone basically challenges your childhood and says your childhood was crap, like most people are gonna like stand up and defend themselves, because as you said to yourself earlier, like MD was a big part of your life through school. And so when you have someone who plod walks in and then just like craps all over it, a lot of people will get pretty tight about that.
I think most people's instincts to anything is fight or flight, right? You're either fighting or you're fucking running. If I was to criticize someone's favorite show, i.e. Murder Drones, let's say I've never seen it before, like I'm a first-time viewer and everything,
right?
The first instinct is you're attacking me personally instead of you're attacking the thing I like. And attacking is a strong word. You're allowed to criticize. You're allowed to have an opinion, right? So, like, generally speaking, how fandoms really silence opinions is that, once again, if it's not the norm, if it's not the universally accepted consensus, it's wrong. and that is such a toxic mindset, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that is quite literally a dictatorship, like in simple terms. So kind of like, going off of that, like once again, like 5 is bad. It is, but it's not all bad. Like that's the way
Right.
I see it. I don't think it's fair on the creator, on people in the fandom, and on yourself to have such a closed-minded way of going about things and viewing everything as black and white. Because there is a very nice shade of gray somewhere in the middle. You just have to actually be able to see it first. Like once again, I think the best example of this, and especially the MD fandom, is the finale, is episode 8, because people either hate it, love it, or they're in the middle. It's one of the three.
Yeah,
and
'cause
prominently the first two
yeah.
are always at a civil war.
Oh yeah, I feel I remember because I remember the initial reaction to the finale, and I for yourself, I'll use you as an example, right? Because obviously you're here. The initial reaction from for the fandom and you were overwhelmingly positive, with a few exceptions. Like I remember the only people that had a negative, that had who in the immediate reaction to episode 8 coming out. The only people that had a not overwhelmingly positive reaction was me, Cosmo, and Vanity Moth. The only ones I know about who had at the time who had a not overwhelmingly positive reaction. But I have noticed that the consensus has started to shift as time has gone on. Like more and more people, including yourself. I remember you saying it was the best thing ever when it came out. I remember you were dancing to the hills. But as time has gone on, people have started to pick it apart a lot more and ask a lot more questions about hey, was this actually a good finale? And yeah, I think that the show that we all care about so much not having a good finale necessarily, or a perfect one, or however you see it, is a very uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people. And again, it is,
it's copium at its finest.
Yeah, well, it was copium, so you care about deeply. So that should be for a lot of people, be their childhood for a lot of these people in the community, or a big part of their life, or their entire friend group and built off of MD, or they met through MD, and to have that precious thing just shattered in front of them is again something that a lot of people aren't really able to handle very well. And I think this is something that will grow in age. I think the fandom will mellow out in episode 8. Both the people that think it's the best thing ever, the people that hate it will all mellow out. I know some big episode 8 haters have mellowed out on it recently. They don't think it's they don't think it's the best episode or anything, but they don't think it's the worst thing to ever happen. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of time and maturity for a lot of people.
It is a maturity thing for sure.
Mm.
A lot of young people, man, they're too just dumb with their emotions.
Says the young person.
I mean, mentally, I think I'm kind of old, but yeah, no, I get your point.
So if you're mentally old, Yag, what am I?
Senile.
You fucking bitch.
I mean, you're not calling me wrong or anything, so it is true.
If I'm senile, yet I still know. I'm not gonna bother.
You said you were old earlier, man. I mean, you're admitting it.
See, back in my day,
yeah, we get with the dinosaurs.
we gave people like you the belt.
You gonna wash me out with fucking soap?
Oh yeah, it's a great idea actually. Yeah.
Could use a bath.
Yeah, casually admits he doesn't wash on
Fuck
podcast.
you! I literally do, you shit.
Everyone, I want that clipped. Yag does not wash. Confirmed.
Wow, you got me there.
Yeah, if I can be senile, you can wash.
I mean, at least one of them I can change. You can't change being senile.
Yeah, actually, it's a very serious condition. Elder people go for Alzheimer's and other such conditions. It's terrible. Dementia. Oh,
there was a topic somewhere in there.
Yeah, to talk about the horrifying realities of how being a person with dementia and how it affects your life.
Oh, I'm sure you can speak heart to heart on that one, Dan, since you know it so well.
Okay, getting back on topic before we wrap up. Is there any closing thoughts on this topic you want to lay out before we finish?
Just grow the fuck up mentally. It's not hard, I swear.
I've called out the fandom here.
I'm kind of succeeded.
Calling out our viewers.
Straight up, it's all a mental thing. Being on the internet requires having thick skin, just, not crashing out every fucking 2 minutes, being able to safely say that you are mature is one hell of a brag nowadays in a world full of very sensitive people, full of very unstable people. And generally, like, just being able to say that you are okay most of the time, that's a pretty important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the problem is necessarily as catastrophic as you make it out to be, but I don't know if I put the words in quite as harshly as you would. But I think it's a matter of, well, what do you expect from people who are young? That's a part of being young. Like, I think just given time, a lot of these things will just change naturally or improve naturally.
Oh, of course, yeah, that's a given.
But anyway, I think we have run out of topics for this week, Yag. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching this week's episode of the podcast as Yag descends into madness with his hatred of crows and his lack of bodily hygiene.
Right, and you keep getting more and more older by the day.
Yeah, so do you, but hey.
Well, no, I'm not going to be able to ever beat you, just that.
So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so we know to make more of these things. And yeah, we hope to see you again in the next podcast that'll hopefully drop next week for whenever this is posted. Anyway, see you all later then. Bye-bye.
Bye.